What's up, guys, and welcome back for another Star Citizen video. I'm going to be going over the solo reclaimer stuff in this video. So the first thing you want to do is we're going to be using the contracts that are under personal and salvage. We're looking for hammerhead cleanup. We're looking for colorless black or constellation class cleanup. The best one, though, is the hammerhead. It is 250,000 credits just to complete it. And while we're kind of warping into position, I'll kind of explain why this works so well, even as a solo player. I don't normally, on these missions, I will not hull scrape at all. So we're essentially locating a contract for the hammerhead, and we have around 59 minutes before reinforcements or before security shows up. So the goal here is to literally just warp to the hammerhead and then fracture it and then disintegrate it, and then we're done. We get out of Dodge and we're good to go. So the reason I don't hull scrape is because it is kind of buggy right now, and also it's just very slow, so we don't want to burn any extra time. We want to do 4 of these contracts an hour. That's kind of like the goal to do. If you can do 2 of them an hour, that's still a pretty decent amount of it's still a pretty decent amount. I'm gonna run this footage uncut so you can know exactly how long it takes me from picking up the contract to actually pulling everything out of the buffer, so you can kind of get a good idea, and then we'll talk about the value and all that. What's nice about these missions is they don't cost anything. They don't cost a fee like normal salvage claims, and they give you a warp to pretty much within like 7K of the ship itself. So you see, we just warped in, and in a couple of seconds, there it is. We're about 6K away from the hammerhead, and so very little burn time. On the normal salvage claim missions, you could be anywhere from 50K to even like 90K away from the actual wreck itself, and you have to burn in. The other thing too is most of these are going to be around Yila or Aberdeen. So what I end up doing is I don't really go back to planet to like Area 18 and drop off any of my goods until I'm absolutely stuffed full. So I will just hang out around the belt of Aberdeen or Yila, and while I'm kind of salvaging, or while I'm pulling everything out of the buffer, I'm waiting for another contract, and then I'm already right there, so downtime is nothing. So right now we're just burning in, trying to control our speed a little bit. Once we get to less than 1,000 meters, I bring it down out of the red, and then we kind of just square up on it. I tried to have the hammerhead itself kind of above. I try to get above the hammerhead to where I'm looking down at the top or I'm looking down at the bottom. That way I know that regardless, my cone for the claw is going to reach it, because once we're in the claw seat, we won't be able to move the reclaimer at all. So you don't really want to get up on the end like that, because you could just, if you're too high or too low, your cone could just miss it. And all you really need to do is you just need to have the cone hit the majority of the ship. So right now I'm just moving right in above it. These are kind of dark too, so I turn on the lights just so I can see the hull. I kind of center up on the center mass of the hammerhead. I try to get around 80 to 90 meters away right above it. And then right now I'm just going to do this. I'm going to switch over. Just get in this claw operator seat. And this is great. This is like, even if you only care, and I've done this before too, if you only care about the actual 250 reward, all it takes is getting in a position like this, turning on the fracture, and just fracturing the hammerhead, and then you get 250 for that. Done and done. And then disintegrating the thing. It's like 200 and something SCU of salvage material, which won't even fill up your buffer. So you're not really wasting anything other than like not hull scraping it. But I mean, geez, we are what I want to say 4 minutes from collecting the contract, and we're about to make 250,000. And what's crazy, you can do this with the vulture too. You can't do the hammerhead with the vulture because the fracture is not the hammerhead is too big. But you can do the same principle with the vulture with Cutlass Black, with Constellation class ships. You can literally just warp over here to Yila in a vulture and just do nothing but frack those smaller ships and get 80,000 every single time. If you're in the reclaimer, I do suggest you just kind of wait for the hammerhead cleanup missions, because 250, you do 4 of them an hour, that's a million credits, and that's not even counting the SCU you're getting from disintegrating it. So what I'm going to do is once we fracture this, we'll warp away from the belt, not too far away from the belt, just to get out of trespass zone. And then I'll head down to the salvage processing, and we'll kind of work the buffer. And I usually empty the buffer. There goes the frac. And sometimes it can bug out. See, this thing is starting to like, move out. And I'm like, at first I was thinking, oh, geez, I'm going to have to like tractor this thing or something, and then hopefully get it back. I'm kind of looking, but it ends up, it was just like a server desync, so it came back into its original spot. And so at this point, you just switch over to the disintegrator, and then you just let it run. We are like negative 18% on speed here. You could get a little closer. We could have probably gotten like 50 meters away from it. I try to be like 80 to 90 or 100 away, just because you never know what's going to happen with the fragments when they fracture. You don't want them to hit the front of the ship. So being this far off, it takes a lot longer to fracture, disintegrate, but also it helps protect the front of our ship as well. But yeah, this is ridiculous actually. Like 3 million an hour, and that's only if you do 2 of these missions an hour. That's with the fees and all the salvage sold and everything. So keep that in mind. Now with the reclaimer, you have to go to either Lorville or Area 18. You have to go to one of the planet cities in order to sell, because it does not have a docking collar. It cannot dock in stations. That's kind of the only downside. It does take a while to fill up. If you actually really worked on filling up the 420 cargo grid on this thing and buffer, then you can bring back quite a bit. What I enjoy is just it's so easy to go out here and do 4 of these and not really worry about the salvage. Just do 4 of these an hour, and that's $1 million. That's just $1 million on the actual reward, not even counting the salvage. So, all right. So we were doing like one other fragment down below that you couldn't see out of range. It does take, like, this is the most time-consuming part, but it's like at this point we've already completed the mission. We don't have to worry about hostiles coming in. We're kind of just hanging out. And these seats are right next to each other. So once this actually fractures and we suck it in, we're going to immediately get out of the seat and we're going to jump in, and then we're going to usually like set, if I'm on Yila, I'll usually set my destination to Daymar. That way I'm still kind of in line to the belt around Yila for the next contract. So what I'll do is I'll quantum warp out of the belt towards Daymar. And then once I see the trespass drop from the screen, I'll just drop out of quantum warp and hang out there, which you'll see here. So I'm going to pop up here. And this is great. Like I recommend the reclaimer. It's a big ship. It's really expensive if you get it on the pledge store. It's like $400. It's 15 million with credits, but it's a really great anchor ship. And what I mean by anchor ship is like every time they do a patch and a rewipe and you get all the stuff back from your pledge store, having a reclaimer and solo running it like this allows you to just very quickly get credits up to go buy other ships with in-game currency every patch, like your Mole, Prospector, Vulture, whatever. So right here, we're just waiting for the spool up. Spool is a little slow, and we're on default stuff here. So there you go. I'm just gonna quantum warp. Boom. We saw trespass drop, and then I'm gonna go a little bit further. I'm actually gonna go to Daymar because like we're at Yila. We don't want to sit in orbit, and you can see there's still a asteroid belt in between us and Daymar. So I basically want to get on the outside of the belt around Yila. Not really for any ganking reasons. It just helps us get far enough away that when we pick up the next contract, we're in a good position to kind of come back in, because the next contract could be anywhere around that belt. So we might have to take a jump point somewhere around the planet or whatever. Even if you don't see a hammerhead contract, if you see like a Constellation Andromeda or a Constellation class Aquila or Taurus or a Cutlass Black, any of those ships like that on the cleanup, I usually do those as well, because I'll usually just go in there, frack them, boom, done. Those are like 80,000 to frack them. Hammerhead is definitely the biggest one. So what I'm doing here is I'm going in here, I'm setting all these to 16 SCU boxes every 16 seconds. It just makes you go even faster. Sometimes the cargo grid can be a little finicky here. I was actually on the EU server. I was having some issues with the server, so normally I like to try to like cargo grid lock everything, but I try to just put two or three boxes in each of the four corners of this room. I don't really like move anything around. The 16 SCU boxes will not actually fit through that door to the elevator. So if you're doing smaller boxes, you can throw them down the chute there, and you can gridlock them on the bottom. If you hold down R and actually move your mouse around while you're using the tractor beam, you can rotate the box to kind of get it. I'm right here. I'm searching for like the little lock thing, but it's not doing it. So I'm just gonna like, stack them. You just gotta use your best judgment here. I end up using. I actually end up doing a lot more smaller size boxes near the end. So every so often, go over to your little window, your terminal, and look at kind of what you've got left, so you can kind of make a good decision. So we got about 108 left. So I know we have a few more 16 count boxes to do. Then we'll switch to, we can switch to 8 SCU boxes, and then we'll switch to 2 SCU boxes. There's no 4 SCU boxes. There's literally just 1, 2, 8, and 16. So we just want to make sure we empty out the buffer completely. And at this point, we're only 12 and a half minutes from picking up the contract to just pulling everything out of the buffer. You also want to make sure that like any sort of box that might get like that sometimes smaller boxes or even boxes of equal size will like glitch into each other, like kind of clip each other. You want to make sure you kind of resolve that you best you can. I have had a vulture blow up after I resummoned it to pad because there was literally just one SC box that's, clipping around the inside after it spawned. Ended up blowing it up, which is just a fault of the a very early fault of the patch, but they resolved all that. I kind of saw that it almost clipped into the other one, so I just want to make sure that every time I see that, I just kind of like try to like get the tractor beam on the box, make sure it's good, make sure nothing crazy is happening. But right now we're just you can usually get like 3 in each corner of the room here, and you don't have to worry about anything else. If you do like 4 of these missions back to back, you're really gonna have to kind of probably stop for a few minutes and really kind of organize things a little bit. You can even get to the point where you can end up doing like 8 SCU boxes and you just throw them down the chute, which is there at the end of the room. 8 or 4 or 1 SCU boxes, just throw down the chute. Once you throw them all down there, then you can just jump down there yourself and then just lock all those to grid as well. I wasn't actually rotating that box right there. Like, that was just I'm rotating it now, but like that little flip around, that was totally luck there. So once this one goes, we got 12 left, which means that we need to switch over to like an 8. I'm gonna let them kind of move all out first. It can take a few seconds to get them kind of ready to tractor beam here, but yeah, see, as long as like they're in their own little spot, you don't have to really worry too much. All right, so that one's not running. We're going to come in here. We're going to switch this to 8, and then we'll hit eject. I think my UI was actually bugging out a little bit because I saw 8 when I selected, or I saw 12 when I selected 8. So one of those SU boxes is probably not completely full. So I don't know how they handle that in the back end. I'm pretty sure, I've never tried it, but I'm pretty sure the 8 SCU box will fit down the chute there. It might be a little tight. I would probably say that if you're going to throw any boxes down that chute to the lower deck there, it's probably a good idea to limit those to the 2 and the 1 SCU boxes. If you have multiple people running with you, throw somebody down there, because it's easy enough to run both these machines with one person. You can have somebody else down below, and you just throw those boxes to them through that chute, and then they can kind of stack them down there. See that? So when I see that, I want to make sure that I account for every box, right? Because if it's clipping into the hull of the ship and you store it, then you want to make sure that you kind of resolve that before you actually store your ship, because chances are you'll summon it, and like if you summon like the reclaimer and it blows up on the hangar, you're gonna end up waiting like 30 minutes, non-expedited 30 minutes to get this ship back. If you expedite it, you'll wait 9 minutes and it'll cost you like 12,000 credits. So what I did there, I kind of moved everything around, located that other box, made sure it was still interactable, it wasn't clipping in anything, and then put it down in play. So just a little tip there if you're trying this. But anyway, that's one run right there. And what the total value ended up being for all of this was about 15. So the value of the actual salvage itself was like 1.2 million, 1.25 million, and then the actual value of the contract on top of that was another 250,000. So it ended up being 1.5 million for this run. If you do 2 an hour, that's 3 million an hour. So hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you like to do Reclaimer solo. And like always, I will see you guys in the next one, and fly safe. Peace out.